Mega here, and so this is the after action review for Coyote Creek Sprint Enduro 2022. Alright, it took place on October 8th, 2022. Alright, so this is like the fourth or fifth time I've raced this race. Alright guys, I got like a bunch of stickers on my helmet. Alright, that's how I know. They give you a new sticker every time. Alright, so so this is the after action review. This is what was supposed to happen, what really happened, and things we could do to improve, or stuff that went well that we should keep on doing. Right. Well, I will tell you out right now. If you watched the second lap video, you kind of know what's up already. Okay, I kind of did the play-by-play on that one already, but I'm gonna go from the beginning to end. All right, guys. So I know you just watched the intro video, and so this is the after action review. Okay. To tell you the truth, man, today was the day like everything just went wrong. All right, that's what I want to say. I mean, it did and it didn't. All right, the weather was great. The weather was perfect. All right, and I'll talk about that in a bit. All right. Anyway, after action review. All right, what was supposed to happen? We were supposed to go race Coyote Creek Sprint Enduro 2022 today. All right, and we were gonna race in the C class. And since I'm 40 now, all right, I get to race in the C senior class. All right, so that's 40 plus. All right, I did meet another guy that was racing it. He was racing a Husqvarna or something. Okay, so today was like a day that I just wished I was riding a gas bike. All right, guys, the electric bike just put a sour taste in my mouth today. All right, I just kind of gave up on it. All right. Anyway, so what happened was what was supposed to happen. All right, we were supposed to race this race, and I raced in C senior. I could have also raced in the C200 class. That's a 200 cc and under class. Okay, but I chose to race in the C bet. All right, C senior. All right, that's 40 plus, and yeah, okay, so the way the Sprint Enduro format works, I've done this 4 or 5 times, all right? There's 3 tests, all right? And or like a stage, all right, is what you would call it in like rally. And then so you line up at the starting, all right? You have a set time, all right? There's a A group, B group, and a C group, all right? We're riding in the C group, so after A and B goes, it's our turn to go up. We line up at the test 1, all right, which was at the motocross track, and then we start racing. All right, so there's 3 tests, all right. You'll race 1 test, and that's just a bunch of it's a course, all right. Or a stage. It's a bunch of trails that they made up, all right, and then what was it? Yeah, and you just ride it, all right? You ride it until you get to the finish, and then time stops, all right? Yeah, they write your time down when you take off, and then they write your time down when you finish the test, okay? And then you got what's called in the rally they call it a liaison, all right? That's what it's called, but I'm not really sure. It's like it's just there. You get like there's like a break area, all right? There'll be a small like the break area from test 1 to test 2 it was right there, all right? Once you finish test 1, you can hop on to test 2 right away, all right? And so when you finish a test, you can do whatever you want, all right? You can take a break, or you can keep on going. You know, that's the nice thing. It's kind of like a hair scramble that you can take a break, all right? That's what it is, all right, guys. And you're not being timed, so you won't get penalized at all, okay? But yeah, you have to go before like everybody else starts coming back, right? Type of thing, all right? So and then you do the next test, all right? Then you do the same thing. When you get to the finish, you get a little break area. You can ride to the next section, all right? It's just and they're not scoring you or anything, all right? And then you ride the 3rd test, and then you go. And it ends at the parking lot, the finish line, all right? And then at the parking lot, you can take a break, all right, until the next lap starts, all right? And then when the next lap starts, you just do what you did on the lap 1, just do it again, all right? and now you know a little more. And then you do that 3 times, all right? There's 3 laps, all right? And it's pretty much like a hare scramble. It takes about an hour and a half. Okay, so test. All right, and so I'm going to talk about the bike a little bit. I did talk about it in the introduction. I had just put a new controller on the bike. It's the Electro & Co. or Electro & Company EMX Run controller. All right, this bad boy here. All right, I swapped my BSC 4000 out for it. I've been plagued with running issues all year. All right, this racing season has not been kind to me. Like, Hayes Omega did a lot of stuff on the suspension, on the wheels, all right, all that stuff, and like the controller and the motor just kind of took a crap this year. All right, so I don't know what the heck, man. So anyway, I got this new controller. I thought the controller is the problem with the bike. All right, and yeah, so we got that controller. I got the Von Cat rear shock, Manitou Dorado front forks. I got these new fast flex bars. All right, so they have elastomers on them, so it acts as like a second suspension. And I'm telling you, I think it works because my upper body isn't all beat up and sore right now. Right? Maybe it will when I wake up tomorrow, but okay. But anyway, yeah, I've got the 420 chain kit. All right, 420 O-ring chain kit. Man, that thing has been rock solid the whole time. All right, guys, it's been working great. And then I'm running a 16-19 tire setup. So like, the bike handles good now. All right. So I'm not gonna lie. Well, I'll talk about how the bike did at the end. All right, but let's do the play-by-play. All right. So this is what really happened. All right. So we start at I think man, I don't remember. It was like at 9 something. Okay, and it was foggy. All right. That was the weather. The closer we got up to the park, all right, the park is about 1,200 feet ish. All right, 1,200 feet. The more we got to the park, all right, the higher we got in elevation, the more foggy it got. All right, it was super foggy out there. I've been up there, you know, at this race, and yeah, it's been foggy before, but not this foggy. All right, the visibility was pretty bad. All right, fortunately, by the time we left, it was a little bit better. All right, so you could still see in front of you. What the scary thing about if it's foggy like that, if somebody crashes in front of you, you might not see them and you might run them over, right? Or there might be a pile up or something, all right? Luckily, there wasn't too many bottlenecks. I'm surprised. Either everybody ran good or Hayes Omega just got lucky and there was like nobody there when he showed up to the hard stuff, all right? So okay, so we take off, all right? The first test, all right? The first test starts at the motocross track. We've never done this before, all right? We always start in the enduro cross or the trial section, but we started at the motocross track this time, all right? So that just tells you we're probably gonna start doing everything backwards, guys, all right? That's the one thing. So if you guys don't know anything about Madcap Motorcycle Park, all the trails are one way, all right? But during this race, the trails could be in reverse. So yeah, it's kind of like trippy. You're going down the trail, and you see the marker saying, "Hey, you're going the wrong way," but you're going the right. It's telling you to go that way. So yeah, it's kind of trippy, you know, because this is my home track and I know it very, very well. Okay, guys, I know like every trail in the park, almost. Okay, so yeah, we take off motocross track. All right, Hayes Omega's not a big fan of this motocross track. But we do okay. We're getting through it. All right. The controller is working great. One thing I immediately noticed is that, man, this controller doesn't have a lot of torque, man. It doesn't have like a lot of punch right off of the throttle, all right, compared to the BSC 4000. And that's where I believe, you know, this controller kind of falls flat. All right. I think this controller in the most powerful mode is rated at 200 amps. All right. I don't know if that's phase amps or whatever, but it's noticeably less torque than the BSC 4000, all right? The BSC 4000 is rated for 430 amps, so that's more than double, guys. That's why when you get on the throttle with the BSC 4000, and if you got the power jacked up, it goes, all right? And I wasn't getting that, all right? I'll tell you this, I wish I had a bigger sprocket, all right? That's to get more torque. That's one way you can get more torque. definitely, yeah, a bigger sprocket would help with this controller. Honestly, like, so this is my kind of like honest opinion about this controller, at least for how it rode today, is it felt like a stock Sauron, but with a little more power, all right? Well, okay, with a lot more power, like double the power, okay? But it just like, yeah, it doesn't have that explosive torque that the BSC 4000 had that I remember, all right? But like I said, I've been having problems with this bike like all year, okay? And maybe it's the motor, all right? I'm not sure, but we'll get onto that in a bit, all right? So yeah, we get past the motocross track, no problems. I don't think I passed anybody, and then it spits you out on Trail 1, all right? And you just ride Trail 1. Hey, just Mega knows Trail 1. It's a double track. We're going pretty fast on it, and then you go down Trail 1, and then you go down one of the fingers, all right? One of the fingers is the single track, all right? It's one of the more difficult trails in the park, all right? I'm not gonna lie. So we're going down it. I don't even think we went down the worst part, okay? And then one thing Hades Mega is already beginning to notice is that, yeah, I don't have my regen throttle anymore. I missed that regen throttle a whole lot. All right. Hades Mega is not a big fan of going down hills, all right? I'm not a fast downhill rider, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I did ride the Sauron when it was stock, and yeah, the regen is like pretty weak. And the way this regen is set is like supposedly like a motocross bike, or like a two-stroke motocross bike, where it doesn't slow down when you go downhill. If you want to slow down, you got to use your brakes, all right? So I have these Magura MT5 brakes, okay, guys? And when I put it on before, it bit a whole lot, all right? And so I think I need to bleed the brakes. There must be some air in there. I would get kind of weird performance from the brakes. Sometimes the lever would bite fast. Sometimes it would bite slow. I think I got some air in the lines. I think when the fluid heats up, it firms up a little more, right? Because like everything is expanding or something. So. And it was kind of cold. But also, my rear rotor is thinner than the Lunicycle rear rotor, okay? So that's probably another thing. And I have this thing adjusted all the way out, all right? And it almost goes back, goes to the freaking thing, so. And so I don't have regen anymore. I use the regen as a rear brake, guys, so I have to learn how to use this rear brake thing again, all right? And I think I did okay, all right? And then yeah, so the first section was actually pretty easy, all right? I was using the two brakes and stuff. I was getting the back to slide around with the rear, yeah, but definitely I think I need to bleed this one, all right? I think there's some air in it. The front one bites much faster, and I've had that there for. I probably need to bleed both of them. That's what I say, all right? But this one is adjusted all the way out, and it goes all the way to the thing. So okay, so and then we go down the fingers. And then it goes down the Hidden Valley Trail. That's okay. Anyway, yeah, we went down that Hidden Valley Trail. I think it's what it's called. I'll put a subtitle below. It's one, but Hades Mega just calls it one of the fingers. Like, there's 4 fingers. All right, I think there's 4 fingers, but Hades Mega calls that one of the fingers. I call that the long finger because it's the longest trail on that single track kind of network. All right, so we do that. And then it spits you out at the bottom. I didn't have any problems. Hades Mega was taking it kind of slow. My knees were like hurting and stuff. And Hades Mega's been having problems with his knees lately. I keep on hurting them. That's the problem, okay? But I didn't crash at all. I didn't go really fast either. So, and the bike is still beating me up, all right? So the one thing about the Metcalf trails is they're whooped out. And like you're hitting those whoops and it's slowing you down. It slows the bike down. It makes the bike work harder. And it just, it just kicks you all over the place, man. And I do know that if you're riding like a bike with really good suspension, you won't really feel that stuff, all right? This bike, you feel it a whole lot. Even with this upgraded suspension, the Lightbeat is just not good at that really rough terrain, man. I hate to say it, man. I've done everything I can. I don't think there's a way to get this bike to do really rough terrain really well, all right? Because I'll ride like an Alta or something, and I was just like, holy crap, this is like riding marshmallows, man. It just soaks everything up. Well, you feel everything in the Sauron, man. I think it's because it's really lightweight. That could be it, Yeah, I mean, I got good suspension on the bike. Anyway, so we finished the test one, all right? And the test one spits you out like at the bottom. and then test 2 is right there, okay? And I was surprised. I was like, that was not that hard. It was pretty easy. So I was like, oh, this might be a cakewalk. Wrong, all right. So like, I hang out there for a few minutes. There's all the other C group guys getting ready to go. You can go whenever you want. You can take your time, take a break. You know, if I'm getting pretty bad arm pump already, you know, it's just because I'm having to grip the throttle really hard because we're going over the whoops and stuff. It's just jarring, you know. So yeah, and then test 2 comes along. All right, so the bike's running okay. All right, and the start of test 2, it takes you down the creek. It's a creek trail, all right. It follows this little. There used to be a creek there. I guess it's not no more water in it, but it's and we're going the right direction. It's pretty smooth, but there's a couple branches that you have to jump off of. All right. Sometimes we go the opposite way, and it's a bitch to get over those freaking branches, man. Or roots. There's roots sticking out of the ground. You gotta pop up over it. Well, if you go the correct way, you just jump off the roots. Okay. I almost go off the trail a little bit. Yeah, but after jumping one of the ledges. So. But yeah, it's pretty nice. It flows pretty easily, and then it spits you out on the other end. You're kind of like in a forest sort of, and then it spits you out in the open, and then we make a hard left, and then we go up the big Manzanita Trail. All right, and so it's kind of steep, and there's these kind of tight turns with these really. It's kind of rocky and rutted, and yeah, not. Pretty nasty. The trails are really beat up at Metcalf, man. That's what makes it challenging. That's what I say. If it was all smooth, the Lightbeat would rip, right? So we ride the Manzanita Trail, and then on the Manzanita Trail, once you get past the really steep stuff, it flows really well, and the bike is flowing really well. Okay, and then, man, I can't remember. So the test 2 was like the longest one, all right. And we had to do some other single track that was really rocky and stuff, like rock garden type of stuff. And then it spits you out at the very edge of the park on the fence line, all right, of the property. And it takes you to what's called the Serpentine Trail, all right? So I've ridden the Serpentine Trail many times. It's one of the hardest trails in the park, all right? And the Serpentine Trail, normally, it goes downhill, all right? Well, guess what? We did it in reverse, all right? So I'm riding along, and I'm looking at it like, we're not gonna do the Serpentine Trail in reverse, are we? Because there's a drop off, all right? If you go the right way, all right, the correct way down the Serpentine Trail, there's a drop off. It just goes down, all right? So, but if you go the other way, it's a freaking nasty freaking climb, all right, guys? And we had to do it, all right? And so this was the first kind of bottleneck, all right? There was like people there like, oh, scratching their head. They're like, holy shit, this looks freaking nasty. I mean, maybe there were some people that like they knew the park, you know, and they're like me there. I was like, I was like, I didn't want to go up that shit. I always go down it. I know it's difficult going down it. It's hard enough going down it, and going up it, it's freaking nuts, right? So I tried to go up a trail. There's like the normal trail, all right. There's the drop off, and it just goes up, and then you can go off to the side if you want. And I tried to go off to the side, but it was like too loose. I didn't get any traction, and I kind of stopped, all right. And then so this is where all the problems begin, all right. So I'm stuck on the hill, and it's like yeah, no problem, electric bike, man. You know, it doesn't stall, you know, but like. Whenever I would drop the throttle, freaking, it wouldn't go anywhere. All right, so I guess this thing, like, unless the wheel moves, it doesn't really want to go. And so, what I was doing was lugging the motor. All right, that's what was going on. It's like I'm trying to make it take off from like a steep hill, and the tires are digging in, and it doesn't like that. All right, and the controller and the motor start heating up a whole lot, and I start losing power. All right, but yeah, okay, well. Okay, so yeah, it was really difficult for me to get up this hill, all right? And then, so they're like, yeah, make your way to the right, where the main trail is, all right? And so that's what I did. I kind of sidestepped a little bit. It was very difficult, guys. And then I eventually made it there, and I had to kind of push it up a bit, and yeah, it was tough, man. I had to do a lot of what I call the donkey mode, right? It's when you give it throttle and you push it, you know. And yeah, eventually I got to the top of it, and it was still I was like so tired already, and I was just kind of trying to pick my way, walk my way through the Serpentine Trail. It's really rocky, and we have to go up it. That's the bad thing, all right? So like it puts a lot of stress on the bike's powertrain, all right? And we're not going very fast, and we're just kind of lugging up this hill, and I can feel it. The bike is getting slower and slower and slower, all right? Well, eventually we make it off of the Serpentine Trail, and I was like, oh yes, no problem, all right? Well, yeah, that's a big problem. So I was like, shit, I don't want to do that again. Okay. And then so we go through this really rocky trail. I forgot what a trail is called. It was a lot of rocks, and then another single track, and then we go down. Okay, and then this is another problem, all right? So I know this climb, all right? There's a climb where there's like hardly any runway, and then so there's the people working there, you know, the course workers, and they're telling you, yeah, when you go here, you got to go wide open throttle. And I made sure it was in warp drive mode, all right? That's the most powerful mode. That's a sport mode, all right, for this controller. And I try to get on it as hard as I can, and it works its way up there, and it just kind of just runs out of power and it stops. Okay, so definitely the power wasn't there, guys. And I'm stuck, all right. And this is a very steep hill, and with a lot of loose stuff on it, all right. And like, yeah, so I want the same thing, same story with this hill. I make my way to the right a little bit because they're like, hey, there's more traction here. There's like little patches of grass. So I try to make it over there, and I'm pushing the bike up. Yeah, I'm having to push the bike out, all right, and walk it up, and it's very steep hill, and I'm surprised I'm not more tired than I am right now. Okay, I eventually make it up there, but yeah, it was so slow, you know. I just looking at the other bikes going up, I was like, man, I'm kind of jealous. I want a gas bike right now with a lot of power. Okay, the controller seems like it's getting really hot, all right, and we eventually make it up that, all right, and then I think we did the hillside track. That's it's like a wide track that's out there, and then it flows really good. So that gave me a chance to cool the controller down and everything. And then yeah, I think there was a bunch of other single track. Just check the video out, all right? Anyway, so then there's a third hill climb, guys. And so I know this one. This is Trail 3, all right? So Trail 3 is one of the more difficult blue trails in the park, all right? It's a blue trail. It's not a black diamond, all right? But pretty much all the stuff that we've ridden till now is black diamond stuff, guys. It's the hardest trails in the park, all right? That's the, you know, the oh shit, you know, like what have I gotten myself into type of trail, right? And then so I know this trail because it's a big downhill, a big long steep downhill, and if you go from the right direction, it's a big downhill. If you go the other direction, it's a big uphill. I've never gone up this trail, all right? I almost killed myself on this trail one time, riding a KX125, by the way. All right, I almost nearly shit my pants when I got to the bottom. but anyway, we're going up it, so we need a lot of power. And I know, I was like, oh shit, we're gonna go up that, and I'll just pin it to win it, right? Pin it to win it, and we're going up, and I'm in warp drive mode. And it gets up almost all the way, like, yeah, it gets up like 3/4 of the way, and it just stops. I was like, oh, what the hell, man? It's just the power isn't there, man. It just sucks, man. And it just dies, and I'm trying to get it up the hill again. I'm having to push the bike up and give it a little throttle, and it's a very steep hill. At the top, it's even steeper, okay, guys? I probably made it like 90% of the way up, all right, this time, all right? So when I talk about the next time, because we got to do this 3 times, right, guys? And I make it, and that's the end of test 2. I was like, oh my god, that was a doozy, man. That you know, we had to actually take a break, and there was a bottleneck, and we had to avoid other people, and then I had troubles getting up these hills and stuff. So these hill climbs just destroying my bike. All right, and I noticed the bike is like overheating. It's super hot, all right? I filled the controller and the motor. I'm like, holy shit, it's really hot. So I decide I'm gonna take a long break up here. I take maybe like a 15-20 minute break, and then we go and do trail test 3, okay? Like, you make it to the top of the hill, there's a little bit of a break trail is what I'm gonna say. You just ride up the hill, and then there's test 3 right there, right? And I'm just waiting there, letting it cool down. I was like, oh shit, man, the bike is not running so good, man. And oh yeah, and then sometimes the bike cuts out too. So like, yeah, it would overheat, it would cut out, and then I would have to turn it off and wait a little bit and turn it back on, and yeah, it would just not cool down really fast. And that's just kind of the theme for the rest of the race, guys. So we do test 3. Test 3 takes off and it spits you out. It starts on Gruesome Gary, all right? So you go straight to Gruesome Gary. That is a double red diamond trail, okay, guys? And it goes the correct direction, all right? So like, I know it. We don't have to go. There's another drop off, all right? There's a rocky drop off. It goes straight down and it's all rocky and stuff. Sometimes we do that in reverse and we have to go up that, and it's very difficult, all right? But we went down it and I was like, oh yeah, this is Gruesome Gary. I know this. I've done this a bunch of times. It's one of the hardest trails in the park, right? And then we're riding, and yeah, it's just the bike just doesn't have the power to go up the hills or get over the whoops and stuff. Like, I'm having to like kind of doggy paddle my way through some of it, and yeah, not good. And then I know that there's a steep hill, okay? There's a steep hill once you get out of Gruesome Gary, and there's a whatchamacallit, a rut. There's a rut that you have to go in. And it's very narrow, you know, like yeah, if you go on the side, you're probably just going to slide down it, you know, so it's better to stay in the rut. It's very narrow. You go down there, and it spits you out on the Loma Prieta Trail, and I knew it. I was like, man, Hayes Vega, you know what's coming up. There's a steep uphill, and there's no runway. So like, once again, we're having to lug the bike up there. I was like, I told myself, hey, well, you got to get some speed to get up there, and I tried, and I got hung up on some of the whoops and stuff, and then yeah, I'm having to like kind of slowly make my way up there, you know. So the controller and the motor is getting hot again, okay. And sometimes it's cutting out, and I gotta wait a little bit and start again. Yeah, we're losing a lot of time, guys. All right, and then so eventually we get up the hill. All right, yeah, it was difficult, but it wasn't as difficult as the last couple climbs, all right? So yeah, that's the theme for this race, guys. There's just a lot, like after test 1, it's just a lot of uphill sections, guys, and to do uphill sections, you need a lot of power, and I wasn't getting it, man. Boy, when I'm telling you, I wish I had like a 62 sprocket, all right? I got a 48 2 sprocket on mine right now, all right? That used to be plenty of power on the BSC 4000, but not with this controller. Yeah, like I said, it just doesn't have that torque, you know, and it's getting, everything is getting hot really fast. It's really strange, right? And then we go up, and then oh yeah, there was a ATV track that was on test 2, but anyway, yeah, we're doing test 3. I think it takes you to the snake, and you ride the snake a little bit, and it kind of, yeah, the snake trail, it just kind of snakes around a little bit, and then it spits you out. It spits you out on another hill climb, guys. It's another one of these hill climbs where like you stop at the bottom, you know, and you got no runway, and then you got to go up it. So the bike is getting hot again, right? Yeah, dude, that was just the same theme throughout the whole thing, guys. And then so eventually, what happens? We take the Chamise Trail, I think, and then I think we head to J Single Track, and then that one is not too hard. And then it takes you to the Trail 3, all right? Trail 3 is, you know, it's one of the harder, easy trails. There's 3 main trails in the park, 1, 2, 3, all right? So I'm riding Trail 3, and the bike is cutting out, all right? We're going up, because we're going up the hill now, because normally you would go down Trail 3, but we're going up Trail 3, okay? So that's tough, all right? Because the bike is overheating, like, big time, all right? It's wanting to shut down, it's not wanting to go anywhere, and I'm forcing it to go, because I was like, man, we're racing right now, you know? And then it spits you out at the H2O hill climb, all right? But you got to go down it, and then I'm just like, oh shit, man, I really wish I had more regen, all right? There's just not enough regen with this controller, right? It's like no regen at all. And so we're going down the H2O hill climb, and it's and we're going pretty fast, and I'm having to use the brakes to slow me down. Like, what if my brakes fail? There's no other way to really slow the bike down, you know? That's why I like having the regen throttle. You got different brakes you can use, you know? Sometimes if you don't want to use the regen throttle, you can use the regular brakes and vice versa, you know? But no, you know? Anyway, we make it down, no problem. Downhills, no problem, right? Because we're not using any power. And I'm trying to just nurse the bike over there. And so at the bottom of the hill, you got to go do the horseshoe single track. That's another one of the harder. It's a kind of hard single track. It is shaped like a horseshoe, sort of. It's like kind of a big loop, right? I went down there and I did okay. I passed some guy that was having problems, and then we made our way out there, and then we go up trail 2, all right, trail 2, and then we follow that, and then it takes you to the enduro cross course, all right. And I'd already kind of scoped it out in the beginning, so I already knew what I was going to do. When you go around the corner, there's this log thingy that they make you go up, all right? It's brand new logs. They're not all rounded off like they used to be, okay? But this guy was like stuck on the log. He's like, he's kind of scratching his head. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? And I just go whoop right over the log. I think I got hung up a little bit, but I just pushed off and I gave it a little throttle, and off we go. And if you go between there's a channel between the two logs. You'll see it in the race video. And I just go motor on by. It's really slippery. I'm not getting a whole lot of traction, and you have to go down this. You go down this kind of ravine, sorta. It's like a really small one. And it goes down and it just goes back up, right? And then like, yeah, the bike is not liking it. It's overheating. And then there's a really tall ledge, all right? You can go around the ledge, but then you'll have like a bad line to go over there's another log jump, a really small log jump, but you got to hit it at like a 90-degree angle as much as possible, right? And I make it up the wall, but I get stuck, all right? The skid plate, it lands on the skid plate, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I just give it a little more throttle, and I push forward, and I got it. Not enough power. There's not enough power for me to pop the front up and jump over it. So the front pops up, and it just gets stuck. I'm like, damn it. I was like, yeah, well, you know, that's the theme of it. When I want the power, it's not there, all right, guys? Because it's overheating, all right? And then, and I know the bike is in this a bad state right now, man. It's really hot. It's not wanting to go so much. Okay, and then we go through this narrow section, little crack that you got to go through. I made it through there, and then you got to go do another S turn, and you got to go pop up over this other rock, and you go over this other rock pile. You ride through this rock pile, and then there's a ledge. All right. It's hard to go up that ledge, but we're going down it, and I just launch it off the ledge, and poof, that's it. We finished lap 1, all right, guys. We did it, all right. So yeah, man, I remember everything because lap 2 did not go so well, all right. So here's what happens. We go to the parking lot, and I know, oh, the bike is like really hot right now, so I let it rest, all right. I take the maximum amount of time. I think we were supposed to go at like 12:40 or something, right? Or something. I forgot what time, but I took the most of the time. You know, there's a start time and a stop time for when you go, and I chose like the latest. All right. There's like a period that you're supposed to be there so you can take off, and I wait as long as possible to cool this thing down. So what I do is we swap the batteries. All right. I take battery 1 out, put battery 2 in, fire up the generator, and then start charging battery 1 up because we're at like 50%, guys, all right? And I looked at the GPS, and we were at like 9, we were pretty much 10 miles, all right, 10 miles. I know this bike can do 20 miles, all right? So that thing, it legit ate up half of the range. So if we go back out, we're probably gonna run out of power unless we charge the battery, all right? If we had something like 75 or 80%, I think we would be fine, all right? So. But you never want to get it really, really low because the state of charge just starts nosediving, all right, when you get down to the lower state of charge. Anyway, yeah, so that's charging, and then I'm trying to cool this bad boy off as much as possible. I got my little spray bottle. Now, yeah, I have it right here, man. Blower fan, all right? I was looking at this bad boy. The other night, and I was telling myself, should we bring this? I don't know. Like I never had to use it for this race. I think I brought it last race and I wound up not using it, you know, to cool the bike down. And we really needed to cool the bike down, right? If we had this, we could have cooled the bike down so much quicker. All right. So I screwed up and I didn't take my cooling fan with me. Like, you know, you should always take a Haze Mega if you're going to use it or not. You know, it doesn't really, you know, it's better to have it than to not have it. That's what I say, right? Because it would have helped in this situation. It could have cooled the bike down really fast. All right. But yeah, the controller and the motor were so hot, guys. I was spraying it with water to cool it down. I was spraying, and you would just see the water boil and sizzle, and it would just, you know, steam would come out everywhere. I have a video clip of it. Check it out. Did you see that? Yeah, it's hot, like spicy hot, man. You could probably cook off of it, all right? That hot. Okay, yeah. So I'm just spraying, trying to keep it cool. I'm spraying the controller too. It's a good thing I at least had the spray bottle with me, all right? That's one way Haze Mega cools the bike off. But I'm like, man, I wish I could take this spray bottle with me. So I found out, I was like, you know what? I do have another spray bottle with me. I use this to clean my goggles, right? So I filled it up with water and I put it in my pocket. I found out these pants have pockets, all right? It's pretty cool. So yeah, that's it right there. I try to take it with me so we can cool the bike down between tests, all right? So yeah, so I take this with me, all right, for the next one, and I don't bring my chest protector. You know, I was like, you know, I don't really want to wear the chest protector, all right? And then, and yeah, I'm trying to cool this down as much as possible till it runs good, you know. And okay, yeah. So hey, at some point, Haze Mega finally the bike is cool enough where we can go back out, all right. And I tell myself, yeah, we got to go like right now, man. We're gonna run out of time. The A group is gonna go again, all right, whatever, you know. Okay, yeah. So what happens? Yeah, we take off for lap 2, all right. So the bike is cooled down, and we're ready to go rock again, all right. So. And I already noticed, like, the bike is already not super duper powerful, man. It's already getting really hot. So, and that leads me to believe, like, yeah, I think something is up with this motor, man. The motor's just getting really hot, really fast. The controller's getting hot really fast. You know, I'm trying to, whenever I get a chance to stop, I try to feel to how hot it is, you know. So we ride through the motocross course. We're doing okay, you know. I kind of know everything that's up, so like I feel a little more relaxed now, and you know. And I'm riding and I'm trying to conserve the power as much as possible. I'm trying not to get on the throttle too much. I'm trying to get the bike to flow a little more so we can get more air into the controller. I'm trying to go, whenever I can go down the hills, I try to go down as fast as possible. And I don't like that, guys. I don't like going down hills fast, all right? But I force myself to do it, okay, guys? And then yeah, so we make it through the first test, all right? Because I know, like, dude, the first test is like the easiest. The one I was dreading was the second test, all right? And so we get there to the second stage, the second test, all right? And I was like, yeah, let's wait like 10 minutes to let it cool down, all right? And I take my little spray bottle out and I spray it, and there's a lot of people interested in the bike, asking questions again, you know? People love to see this bike race because it's just something different, all right? And people know me. They know I've raced this race, all right? So like, oh, you're that guy that races the Sauron. Yep, that's right. I've been doing it for a couple years now, all right? Unfortunately, we're having a lot of problems with the heat this time, all right? Anyway, I'm spraying away, right? And I'm trying to cool it down, all right? And so this guy's kind of old, all right? I'm not gonna lie. And I was having problems with it spraying. It was not spraying so good, all right? And anyway, I was able to cool it down a little bit. And then, so the first trail is the creek trail that we go down for the second test. and it flows pretty well. So I was like, oh yeah, this is good. We just kind of just let inertia carry us along. So what I was trying to do is ride it like a two-stroke, all right? So that's where it's got a lot of power. You just brap it real quick, and it just, you know, pushes you right along, right? And then you just let it coast, right? And yeah, I tried to ride it like that as much as possible to try to keep the controller as cool as possible, right? And remember, this is only the second lap. We still got one more lap to do, guys. It's a 3-lap race, all right? So we're out there, and actually, I do a lot better on the second lap, you know. But there's certain times that we have to go up these obstacles, and we're going really slow, and I'm lugging it, and then the bike cuts out, and it does it a lot, all right, guys. And then we get to the dreaded Serpentine Trail again, all right? But this time, I go all the way to the right. There's the main trail, and I stick to the trail this time. I make it almost all the way up that drop off. I make it past the drop off just a little bit, and I have to kind of doggy paddle a little bit, and then I was like, oh damn it, I stuck again. I was like, I don't want to go back down because we're not gonna have enough power, or it's just gonna overheat. Trying to keep on going up and down. That's the best thing to do if you get stuck on a hill, though. I mean, it depends how far you make up the hill. Is to turn around, all right? Like, let the bike go down the other way, go back down, and try to motor your way up, because inertia is your friend to get over a hill, okay? But I knew it, like, every time we do that, the bike is just gonna get slower and slower, and it's just gonna get harder and harder. So I'm like, no, that's okay. I push it, and I do the donkey mode thing again. Give it throttle, push it, but I got around it pretty fast. I was like, wow, okay, that was a lot better than last time. Okay, and I ride it through that Serpentine Trail, and I'm doing much better. Like I'm more relaxed, and I know what to look for and stuff. And we make it to the end of Serpentine, and then yeah, there was the steep loose climb again, man, and this gets me every time. I don't know what bike can make it up there, man. It's just nasty, dude. I don't think I've ever made that climb clean, right? You need a bike with a lot of power, and you just need to just power your way up it, you know. Work the clutch or something, all right? We just didn't have enough torque and power to get up there. Anyway, I'm trying to get up there. I try to goose it as much as I can, and I try to go up the right side because there's more traction there, and I get stuck again. I was like, oh shit, man. So I did the same thing. I just start pushing my way up there, and the bike just cuts out. It's overheating, and it's cutting out. It's not in a good state, guys. And then eventually we make it to the top of the hill. It took a while for me to get up there. It was definitely not a clean run, that's for sure. I always struggle on this hill, man, and I dread when they put it on these races, man. Okay, and then we just riding through everything, and what was it? And then so there's the next big obstacle. All right, I'm just gonna go over the hard stuff. All right, everything not too bad. Haze-Mega just kind of picked his way through everything. I think we did okay. I don't really think we got past all that much, but there was like no bikes out there when I went, so that was kind of nice. I didn't have to worry about other people, type of thing. And then so I get to the end of test 2, all right, and then we have to go up that freaking steep ass hill again, all right. So I know, like, oh shit, well you better start hauling ass now. So I'm just pin it to win it, all right. And we go up the hill, and it's like a stock run. You know what a stock run is when you go up like a steep hill climb. It goes up, and you get the momentum. It's like a two-stroke, right? You go up and you lose momentum, and then like it starts to struggle, and then it just kind of just stops. Okay, if it's too steep, and that's what happened to me. I made it about 3/4 of the way up the hill, and then it just stopped. I was like, oh shit, man. There's, you know, it was so frustrating riding the bike like this, man. Like I need the power, and it's not giving it to me. You know, I'm just getting sick of this, man. Like, what the hell? And I don't know whether to blame the controller or the motor. Anyway, we eventually make it up there. It takes me a long time to get up that last quarter, right? If trying to push a bike up a hill is tough, right? I mean, it's okay. I mean, the Soron, thank goodness the Soron is pretty light, all right? But yeah, I'm trying to push it up there. I make it about like 95% up there, and then somebody sees me, and then they one of the workers out there, here's the most frustrating part, all right? I'm trying to get up this freaking hill. Right at the top of the hill is the finish line, all right, guys? It's the finish for test 2, and I couldn't freaking make it, guys. I'm looking at it. It's right there, right? And then I was just like, shit, man. It's one of those so close, it's so far type of thing, right? And I'm just like, no, I'm not having a good time here, guys. And this guy comes by, he helps me push the bike up, and we eventually make it to the finish line. It was so hard. It was an ordeal to get up that hill, man. I think that's probably the longest, steepest climb, right? Yeah, and then what's next? So after that, I knew like we got to take a big break, man, because I don't think we're gonna make it. The bike is getting so hot, and the bike it's cutting out. It's overheating. You know, I'm turning it off and turning it on. Like the last part of the hill, like I had to pretty much push it the rest of the way because the bike didn't want to go under its own power, right? It seems to want the tire to spin. Like it just doesn't have enough torque to move it along, you know. Like I said, I don't know if it's the controller's fault or the motor's fault. You know, it's probably both. I'm not sure, man. But I know it's a brand new controller, so it should be good, right? For whatever reason, the motor and the controller heat up so fast, even though I let it cool down. So that tells me that there's something wrong with that motor, I think, all right? I think maybe like the windings are messed up and like there's a lot of resistance in the motor and it's creating a lot of heat, okay? So it's not running properly. So that leads me to, you know, I was supposed to replace this motor with a QS motor, but I couldn't find a controller that ran it. I thought this one would run it, but the people that Electro & Co told me like, no, it's not gonna work. We couldn't get it to work properly. So, and I was like, oh shit. But I needed a controller badly because like my BSC 4000 is like running like shit, all right? So anyway, I make it up there and I'm hanging out with the guys at the finish line and they're asking questions about the bike. You know, everyone's always interested in the Soron. And then I whip out my water and like they're like, is there any way to cool that thing? Like Teslas have like air conditioning or something. Well, like you think I can put air conditioning on this freaking bike? Anyway, so I whip out my sprayer and guess what? It breaks. All right, that's why it just comes up really easy now. All right. It breaks. It's like an old sprayer. And I was like, oh shit, man. I wish I had one that didn't break. So, and they're like, yeah, just to open it up and just like pour the water over the freaking motor, right? Yeah. So that's what I did. I just kind of poured the motor over the motor, and it was sizzling and boiling again and steaming. It was that hot. Like it was super duper hot, like it was when we were in the parking lot. And I'm like, shit. There's no way that we're gonna finish this race. I think this is it. And so I make the decision, okay, I'm gonna wait here, let it cool down, all right, and then I go up to the test 3. It's just right around the corner up the hill, and it couldn't even go up that. It could barely make it up that, all right, and I could feel the motor. It kind of wants to go, but not really. And I tell them like, hey, I'm just gonna wait here for a while. The motor is overheated, and I tell them like, yeah, I might bail out. I might not even finish. So I might just go straight to the parking lot, all right? Because I don't think we're gonna finish it. Test 3 is the easiest one, but like, there's still some hill climbs and stuff, and we're gonna have a lot of problems, and there's some pretty technical trails still. So I'm deciding, should I keep on going or should I bail out? And I wait and I wait. The A-class guys come, and I'm watching these guys rip up the freaking hill. They're jumping. They're doing the jumps going up the hill. That's how much speed and power these guys have, man. They're freaking animals. All right, and then I'm there until all the A guys pass. All right, so then they're on their 3rd lap. All right, I'm just barely on my 2nd lap. I'm trying to finish my 2nd lap. All right, and then the B guys go up there, and so every once in a while I'll turn the bike on and I'll ride it around and I'll feel it. I'll actually feel it. And I'm like, hey, the controller's cool now. The motor's kind of cool now. It's still warm, but you know, it's much better than it was before. And I'm not getting the power back, guys. It's not running at all. All right. So like, I decide, I think I'm gonna bail. I tell the guys I'm gonna bail. Like pretty much, the B group guys are there already. The B group guys are there. I was like, shit, we gotta go, man. Like, and off we go. I tell them like, hey, you know, guys, I think I'm gonna bail out. So, I don't think the bike is gonna make it. So. And then I ride it a little bit, and then so it starts you on Gruesome Gary, all right, the really hard single track, the double red diamond, all right. And I was like, you know what, it's running okay, and Gruesome Gary flows pretty well, that's all I'll say. So like it's running and running, and I get up, yeah, it goes up and down and around, and I'm doing all right. And then like, oh shit, the bike is starting to overheat again, and it's not wanting to run. And then at some point, it doesn't run at all. Okay, I turn the bike off. I try to let it cool down. I turn it back on, and it's so hot. It doesn't want to run. That's it. It's done. All right, the wheel still spins. I mean, if I push it, it'll still, you know, the motor still spins. Okay. You would think if the motor failed, you know, it might not spin anymore, right? But something is up with the motor, I think, all right, or the controller. Right? For whatever reason, it's not wanting to go when I give it throttle at all. That was it, all right. And I had to push it, and I was like, oh, so I'm like, oh shit, all right, oh shit, I'm on a single track. I'm on Gruesome Gary. It's one of the hardest single tracks, and there's not a lot of room to pass, all right. So I'm on, the bike doesn't run anymore. That's it. It will not run under its own power. That was it. And I was like, and I was just thinking in my head, we've got to bail out. We got to bail out right now. And I know there's a bailout on Gruesome Gary. Like, if you don't finish the whole thing, there's like a little section that you can go off. You're not supposed to go that way. You're supposed to finish Gruesome Gary, but like I could take that. So I was like, okay, we'll just push it the rest of the way. All right. I'm trying to see if the bike still runs. I turn it off, turn it back on, try to get it to move again, but nothing. I'm not getting anything. All these bikes are passing me, man. It's like freaking. It's scary, man. Like, I was afraid I was gonna get hit by a motorcycle, man. You're on a single track. Just think about it. You're on a single track, and then you're around the corner. Is somebody gonna see you in time to go around you, or before they hit your ass? You know. So I tried to very carefully, you know, position myself like off the side of the trail as much as possible, and I was, you know, I would always make sure if somebody's coming, don't move. All right. And then if I didn't think that, there was anybody coming for a while, I would get and push it to the middle of the trail and try to get around the corner. Because, like, dude, if you stop around the corner, they're not going to see you. They're going to freaking run into your ass, all right? You're going to get your ass run over. Or they're going to stop and drop their bike. You know, I would hate to do that to somebody, okay? So I tried to very carefully. It was not good. All right, I apologize. The freaking ice cream man decided to come by like freaking twice, all right? Anyway, yeah, so I've got to get off this single track, all right? It's so dangerous, all right? We could get hit by another bike. So, okay, so I know that where the bailout is, there's a tree, okay? And so I put the bike on its kickstand. I put it somewhere where, like, you know, if somebody will see it, you know, before they hit it, all right? And then I'm like, oh shit, so I was like, let me go just hike ahead. I scout ahead just to make sure, like, there's a bailout over there, and I go around and I look around the corner. I'm like, there's no bailout here. I think it snakes one more time, all right? So I think it snakes to the right, to the left, and it goes back up, and then that's where the bailout is, all right? So I was like, oh shit, man, like, what am I gonna do? And then, so I walk a little bit up there, and then if you look at the bushes, there's like kind of like a little walkway through the bushes, all right? But there's like, yeah, it's freaking bushes. You're not supposed to go there. And what I think of that is I think that was a bailout. And I was like, oh shit, we can take this. And it spits you out where Trail 3 is, right behind the ATV track, okay? And so I knew that the ATV track is, after you go around the ATV track, there's a downhill. And then once you go down that downhill, you're almost at the parking lot. And I was like, yeah, we've got to, 100%, we got to bail out. The bike is not running, all right? So I go back, I hike back to the bike, all right? And then so I got the plan, all right? So yeah, we're gonna take this bailout, but we gotta go, I'm on the left side of the trail, we gotta go to the right side and then cross again, all right? We gotta go up the other side. So I was like, shit, man, I got a lot of exercise today, I'll tell you that, man. And I wait for some bikes, I'm like, okay, wait for another bike to come by, all right? Because there's usually a gap between the bikes. So I wait for like a couple bikes to go by, and I was like, okay. And I got the bike positioned so we can just cross the trail, all right, and then go into this bailout. And I crossed through it, and like, man, the bike is like, it's like rubbing through all the bushes and stuff. I'm not shitting you. This is part of it. The bushes these are the bushes that we were riding through, all right. It was like there was a lot of bushes. Like for a person to go through, it's not too bad. you know, but the bike was just getting all scratched up, and you know, stuff like this is stuck to my bike, all right. And then it spit us out on Trail 3, and I was like, oh hell yeah, man. And then so there was a little shade spot, so I pushed the bike to the shade spot, and I was like, okay, let's let the bike cool down. I need to cool down. I want to take a break. I take my helmet off. And I was like, yeah, you are done, bro. We're not racing anymore, all right. And then I try to turn the bike on and see if it'll work, and it doesn't. Like the whole time, the bike doesn't work, all right. And then so I know, like, hey, we got to go around the ATV track and go up, all right. And we got to go around the ATV track so we can go down. And so that's what I do. I put my stuff back on, and we go up there, and then there's another shade. I take another quick break, and then one of the sweeps comes by, or the course workers comes by, and he's like, hey, so it's not working? I was like, nah, that's it, it's dead. It doesn't want to, it's dead in the water. And it's like, okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna help you push your bike to the downhill part, all right? And then we're gonna and so we're gonna ride downhill. You're gonna ride down the hill, and then at the bottom of the hill, I got a tow strap, and we're gonna tow your bike back to the parking lot. And I was like, okay, well, okay, let's do it. And then so he helps me push it up to the top where the ATV track is, and then we hang a left around the log jumping thing. All right. If you didn't know how to if you don't know how to jump logs on your motorcycle, this is a good course to learn. All right? That's what I say, because they made you jump those logs. All right. People had some trouble doing it. Okay. Anyway. So yeah, I'm going down the hill, I'm following this guy, and then we go down the hill. It's pretty steep, and you get a lot of speed, and then I ride it, and I coast until it stops, and then that's it. And I was like, oh shit. And I told the guy, hey, you know what, I've done this walk before. I know how far we are to the parking lot. I can just push it the rest of the way. I was like, no, that's cool. We'll just tow your bike, all right? So he busts out his tow strap out. We attach it to my foot peg. This is like, shit, dude. This is like the third time I've had to have this bike towed. I got towed in Virginia City, and I got towed in the sand dunes, all right? My belt broke on the sand dunes, and somebody had to tow me out. Yeah, this is the third time I've had to have my bike towed out. I don't think I've ever been towed out on any other bike than this bike, all right? So it just kills me, man. I'm telling you. The walk of shame, all right? We're just having to do the walk of shame all the time, man. And I hate it, man. I hate it. Anyway, so yeah, he puts the tow strap on, and then we head on up. He pulls me up the hill. It's not even that steep. I could have pushed it, but he towed me. I was like, oh yeah, this will work. And then I feel bad for the guy's clutch. That's what I say. But yeah, we made it up there. He towed me to my car. I was like, hey, thanks a lot. You know, we chatted a little bit, and yeah, I think this bike is done, or type of thing. All right, and then that was it. That was the end of the race for me. All right, so hey, I'm gonna try. 5 minutes, I've got myself bailing out. Yep, I'm getting towed. So what really happened? Hayes Mega completed the first lap in like 50 minutes. All right, I think I will go over the results at the end of the video. All right. There'll be another clip, and I will go over the results, but I'm pretty sure I got DNF'd, all right? I only completed one lap, and I completed test 1 and test 2, and I DNF'd, or DNS, whatever. I didn't finish the third thing. They had my start time, but they didn't have my end time, and I bailed out to the parking lot. Okay, so that's what happened. I finished lap 1. And then I did test 1 and 2 for lap 2, and then that was it. All right, so I only got like halfway pretty much. All right, which is a bummer, man. To tell you the truth, I really enjoyed that course. It was very difficult and very challenging, you know, especially on this bike. So I want to say, yeah, you know, honestly, the way the bike was performing was it's like everything that could have gone wrong went freaking wrong, and I think I killed the bike. All right, I was wondering when I was gonna finally kill this Suron motor, and I think I just did, guys. Lugging it and overheating it, yeah. And I think the whatchamacallit, I think the motor, something in the motor burnt, all right, and I think it was causing a lot of resistance or something. That's why it was getting really hot, all right. That and the controller were getting really, really hot, and it wasn't going anywhere, you know. It was struggling moving. All right, after after I finished the second test, that's when it gave up. All right, that was it. I don't know if it's the controller. I don't know if the controller's broken or the motor's broken. I do have my old controller, so I can put that on and try it. And I do have a QS motor, and I could probably put that on and see if that works. Or yeah, I could put I know the BAC controller works with the QS motor, so I can get it running again, but it won't be, you know, at optimal condition, right? It won't be race ready, all right? So yeah, the bike doesn't run anymore. I can turn it on, all right? It turns on. So the good thing is, yes, the controller turns on and it works, all right? But if I give it throttle, it doesn't go anywhere, okay? It could be maybe the throttle is broken. I might want to try installing another throttle. It could be the controller is broken, or it could be the motor's broken, or just everything is broken, all right? But all the electronics works, all right? All the 12-volt stuff works. The bike turns on, the controller turns on, the display turns on. So yeah, I think it's either the motor or the controller that's bad, or both of them, right? And if the controller is broken, I would be really sad, because I just bought this. It was like $700, guys. And like it did not impress me much. It didn't have adequate regen to go for, you know, the way I prefer to ride, to go down the hills. It had pretty much no regen. I had to rely on my brakes the whole freaking time, all right? And it was dangerous. What happens if the brakes fail? What happened if the brakes fail, or you overheat the brakes, and like you can't it just stops? Like or you got no way to slow the bike down, all right? If you overheat the brakes and it doesn't want to brake anymore, what are you gonna do? Yeah, man, it's super dangerous. That's why having the regen brake helps a lot, all right? This is my first time racing without it in a long time, and I don't like it, man. I hate to say it, I think I might have to go with another controller, and I just sunk like $700 on this, so. Yeah, so anyway, I'm sick and tired of putting money into this bike, you know. I think, I don't know, man. I might try to get a new motor and controller I think that's what it needs. It just needs a motor and a controller, like, I don't want to go with another Soron motor. I would rather get an upgraded motor. That's why I bought the QS motor for it, but I can't get that QS motor to work properly, all right? If I can find a controller that will use that QS motor, because the QS motor is cheap and it's better than stock, all right? That's the advantage of that thing. Or I can go with the KO motor, but that's a lot of money, man. I don't really want to drop that much coin on a controller, all right? And I hate to say it, I think this is it for Hayes Mega Moto Racing, at least for this year, man. There's a couple more races towards the end of the year that I wanted to do, but I think this is it, man. I still have my KLX 140, so maybe we can race that in some races. All right, there's a hare scramble coming up, and there's a Treasure Island TT that I wanted to race this in, but I don't think we're going to do it. I always wanted to race that race, and yeah, not good. So anyway, yeah, so improves, get the bike running again, Hayes. Maybe get the bike running good, all right? So this bike has been plagued with problems with the controller and the motor the whole year, all right? I haven't, actually the battery has been giving me like no problems at all. I think I overheated the battery once when I was at the racetrack, but that was it, you know? These batteries have been treating me really well, but the controller and the motor, not so good, all right? And that's why I wanted to replace that motor. I think it's worn out, and I finally killed it, all right, guys? What killed it was lugging the motor, trying to go up hills really slow, okay? So what could help, right? What could we do to the bike if it was running with this setup is get a bigger sprocket, all right? I think if we had a bigger sprocket, the motor doesn't have to work as hard, all right? Okay, yeah, if I was going to continue to run this setup, I would definitely get a bigger sprocket now, because it just doesn't have the torque that the BAC controller had. Or it could just be because the motor is worn out and we're not getting that kind of power. All right, yeah, I didn't like the way it behaved, all right? I liked it better with the BAC 4000, so I may get rid of this controller. I'm not sure. I mean, honestly, it works good. Okay, yeah, so anyway, this is going to kind of be like a review of the EMX Prod controller, all right? I'm not very happy with it. It overheated. It overheated the motor. It's just not as torquey as the BSC 4000. Maybe because that thing was running a lot of phase amps or type of thing. I had that thing tapped out. All right. If I was to continue to run this controller, I would definitely get bigger sprockets. Okay, I'm running a 48.2 sprocket. I would just go with a 62 sprocket. All right, then it would be much better off road. But then yeah, on road it would suck because you wouldn't have that speed. All right, you would lose a lot of top speed, and I kind of need that speed, especially if I want to race supermoto. All right, guys. Yeah, I wasn't happy with the way it performed, and it kept on overheating. And the regen, I'm not happy with the regen. I think Austin told me, Austin's dude that works at Electro Company, and he told me that it's set for like 20 amps of regen. But when I go down to when I slowing down and I let off, I'm not getting any regen at all, man. I'm telling you, it's just when the bike regens, you'll see the volt, because my voltmeter is like on the bike, one that I installed on the bike is it's very fast acting. All right, if it's charging the battery, you'll see the voltage rise. All right, guys, you'll see it rise a whole lot. All right, because that's the way it was with the thing. So I don't like it. I don't like it for going down hills. All right, it's so scary riding this to go down the hills. I mean, yeah, it's like a stock Sauron basically. All right, but I got so used to using that regen throttle, and I miss it a whole lot. That's what I'll say. Yeah. But yeah, I don't like having to go down the hill and then no regen. I have to rely on the brakes to slow down, right? I gotta ride the brakes to go down the hill, you know, and if the brakes fail, I could die, all right? Because I don't have that regen. There's no engine braking, all right? Even a gas motorcycle, it has engine braking. I don't feel it in this, all right, guys. I want to be able to feel that bike slow down, all right? And it's not doing it for me, okay, guys. That's just the style Hades Mega rides. I just don't like going down hills fast, all right, guys. I broke my foot doing that, all right. And yeah, that's what could happen, you know. So I could get seriously injured if, you know, the bike doesn't slow down fast enough. All right. So that's my take on it. How did the bike perform? Pretty good. It was pretty. The tires did pretty good. It was pretty slippery out there. It slip and slide a little bit. I didn't crash at all, guys. Surprise! I didn't crash at all. I didn't have any major crashes. All right. There's a couple times where I kind of went off the track a little bit. All right, the trail a little bit, and then I just have to get back on it. All right, because the tire slipped off of the trail or something. Okay, but yeah, it was like no problem. All right. I rode pretty good. Okay, I didn't get hurt. I didn't get hurt at all. I did have to push the bike a whole lot today, so I got a lot of exercise. I bet you I'm gonna be hurting a lot tomorrow. But yeah, I actually felt good out there. The funny thing is, like, I didn't feel that tired, but the bike was just not wanting to run. All right, guys. The brakes, yeah, okay, the brakes. I had to work on the brakes. I think I have to bleed the brakes because this one, the lever just goes all the way to the handlebar. So I need to go bleed these. All right, I need to bleed both of them. All right. But the brakes did work good. These Magura MT5s, they're good brakes, all right, guys. And I was able to slide around with the brakes and everything, and yeah, they work good. They didn't let me down. But sometimes, yeah, I would feel the levers, like it would change the position, like where it bites, it would change all the time. Like if it get hot, it bites out, like further out and stuff. Yeah, man. So yeah. Overall, the bike performed well, except for the controller and the motor, right? And other than the fact that the bike is dead in the water now, all right? The 12 volt still works, the battery still works, all right? The bike still turns on, the display still turns on, all right? The controller turns on, but however, when I give it a throttle, it doesn't do anything. And you could hear something in the controller kind of click a little bit, so I don't know. I don't know if the controller's bad or the motor's bad. I'm gonna have to like swap parts out to see if I can get it to run again. But I think this is the last race of the year for this bike, guys. I'm sick of putting money into this bike, you know. But it's so much fun to race, and it's so much fun to have people watch it race. People love watching this bike race, man. It's like something different, all right? Well, there had to be like a handful of people come up to me. Is that a Sauron? Are you racing that? There was like surprise I was racing it, but there was a lot of people that knew I raced it too, like because they see me race this bike like multiple times in this race, you know, and they can't. Their mind is just blown. Like, yeah, this guy can do a race on an electric bike. And that's why I like racing this bike, because it's different, all right? It's different than what everybody else is doing, you know? And I'm just showing people that, yeah, you can do it, all right? And you can do it, and it's not easy, all right, guys? It's very difficult. I have done the walk of shame on this bike more times than I can count, all right? On the pavement, on the trails, on the racetrack, yeah, man, you name it. I've done the walk of shame on this thing so many times. Whereas my KLX 140, my gas bike, no problems. It never breaks down. That thing is like a freaking tank, man. All right, but it's just this is fun. This is more fun to ride, in my opinion. You know, it's different kind of animals. What I'm gonna say. All right, and I hope I can get it running again. If I'm gonna race it again, I need to go with a new motor and new controller combo. All right, if I can get Austin to jack the regen up on this, you know, maybe it's okay. But I feel like, I don't know, man. The power is just not there. Now, it could be because the motor is messed up, that, like, yeah, the controller's not running very well. Hopefully because we overheated the motor, it didn't break the controller, all right? I'm thinking that might have been what happened, all right? But yeah, so the improve is I need to fix the powertrain, all right? The powertrain's in big trouble, all right? The battery is running great, however, I didn't have any problems with the battery. For whatever reason, my generator died when I came back to the pits. Like, the generator was dead. Like, I don't think anybody turned it off or anything, but it had charged it to 90%. If we did come back and we were going to go out for a third lap, we could have finished on that 90%. All right. That Coyote Creek Sprint Enduro 2022. That was the hardest course that I've ever raced on. All right, at Metcalf, bar none. The amount of uphills and just going up the freaking Serpentine Trail, Jesus, man, I'm telling you, all the crazy shit that you wouldn't want to do, we did it. That's okay, and it was, I hate to say it, it was difficult, but it was fun, all right, and it would be more fun if the bike ran properly, all right, or if the bike didn't give me any problems, it didn't complain, then I would have had more fun. But I was. You know, it's just one of those races, and I'm not going to lie, it happens to everyone, all right? It happens to everyone. There were several people there that day, like, yeah, oh, my radiator is leaking, my fuel tank is leaking, I got a flat tire, you know. Anything can happen in a race, guys, I'm telling you. So like, Hades Mega's not the only one that had a bad day, I'm not going to lie, okay? It happens, all right? That's racing, okay? And yeah, so hopefully we can learn from this and you know, make it better. But anyways, I don't think we'll be racing this anytime soon, all right? But I'll try to figure out what's wrong with it. Look forward to a follow-up video if I ever get it running again. That's what I say, okay? Yeah, and I brought some stuff back from the trail, those little bushes and stuff. Yeah, I was number 312, all right, for this race. And I raced in C Senior, right? That's what it says right here on my helmet. I didn't get hurt. I didn't really have any gear malfunctions except for like the the spray bottle. All right, it would be good to take a spray bottle with you every time you go out racing, Hades Mega, so you can stop and spray the thing to cool it down. All right, that's the name of the game. It's air cooled, so it's got to be cooled somehow. All right, and if you got water with you, you could cool it much faster, all right, than just letting air cool it, all right? And so the weather was great today, guys. It was really foggy in the morning, but then the fog kind of burned off, but it was still, and the sun came out, but it was still great, you know? It really didn't get higher than 80 degrees, all right? I think 80 was like the peak, but the weather was just great. The conditions were great. We had hero dirt in the morning, great traction, and then we kind of lost it. Everything kind of dried up, and yeah, it was a little slip and slide, all right, sort of. But yeah, man, that was a fun race, but you know, everything that went wrong could have gone wrong. All right, other than like I didn't get hurt, okay? I did get a blister on the back of my foot. So I was pushing the bike so much that like my heel was rubbing up on the back of my boot, and I got a blister on my heel, all right? So I was pushing the bike. I don't think I pushed the bike so much, except for Virginia City. I pushed the bike a whole lot in Virginia City. But yeah, it's something like, you know, every time it happens, I'm like, why does this happen to me? Type of thing, okay? Anyway, sorry for the long AAR. That's Coyote Creek Sprint Enduro after action review. Thanks for watching. I hope it was entertaining. Okay, it's definitely a lot of drama, you know. When everything goes great, you know, no problem. But when everything goes wrong, you know, it's just a shit show. Hope you guys enjoyed the shit show. All right, it's big out. Oh, also, after this clip, I will go over the results. All right, we'll go over the results real quick. Oh yeah, also you can see everything still works. The lights still work. Turn signals still work. The light still works. The horn doesn't work. The controller still works. All right, my USB thing works. My gauge works. This thing got scratched. Oh yeah, to tell you the truth, if I'm gonna race this again, I'm not gonna put this on there, man. Look at how many scratches are on it. It's a good thing the protective screen is, protective plastic is still on it. There's some scratches here now. It looks horrible, man. So yeah, I would not recommend, if you buy one of these DKD displays, just take it off before the race, guys. Just put some tape around the freaking connector and you just hide it somewhere. All right, because this, I don't think it's good to race with this guy, man. It's too big. Like I said, I was afraid my chin was gonna hit it. I think that's what happened. The chin of the helmet hit it when I was like pushing the bike and stuff. Yeah, man, it scratches really easy. It's really big display. It's for a street bike, guys. If you ride your bike on a street a lot, this is a good display, right? It's bright, you know, it's nice. And it tells you all like the speeds and stuff. So this is the normal mode, this is the warp drive mode, all right, and then there's the eco mode, all right? So 1, 2, and 4 are the power modes, okay? But yeah, it doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go no more anymore. The throttle doesn't go anywhere. I tried switching the batteries. It's not the batteries the problem. It's either the controller or the motor's the problem. I can hear a little click in the controller, but that's it, you know. So I'm thinking there's a lot of resistance. The motor's giving a lot of resistance and it's heating up a whole lot, and then it's heating the controller up. I might have broke both of them, man. Shit, dude. Okay, so all right, yeah, that's just some more info on the bike. Yeah, everything runs except for the motor or the controller. Like, it just doesn't go anymore, right? And I think we toasted something, right? All right. All right, also, I hate to say it, man. I wish I was racing a gas bike in that race. I just saw the other bikes, everyone having a lot of fun and ripping it up, and I was just, man, having so many problems with the electric bike. Yeah, but I've raced that bike in that race so many times, and it's done pretty good in that race, so I don't know, man. This year was just extra tough, man. All right.